I got dressed in my nicest clothes, ready to attend my sister-in-law's wedding. I thought I would be treated like family. After all, I had helped with the planning, run errands, and supported everyone. But when I arrived at the venue, someone handed me a name tag. I looked down and froze. It didn't say my name. It didn't say sister-in-law or guest. It said housekeeper. At first, I thought it was a joke, but then I saw everyone else had normal name tags, real names, real titles. I looked at my husband, waiting for him to say something, to defend me. He just looked away. My heart sank. I was being treated like the help at my own family's event. They told me to help serve drinks. A cousin snapped her fingers at me for more napkins. The bride barely looked at me. I heard people whispering and laughing. I tried to hold it together, but inside I was breaking. I had given this family my time, my effort, my care, and they gave me a label meant to shame me. I asked my husband quietly, why would they do this? He shrugged and said, don't make a scene. That's when I realized he knew. Maybe he even agreed to it. I felt so small. My face burned with shame, and my hands were shaking. I couldn't stay another minute. So, in the middle of the reception, I took off the name tag, set it on the table, and walked out. I didn't say a word. I didn't look back. My phone started blowing up with messages, but I didn't answer. I drove away, feeling more free with every mile. They wanted to embarrass me. Instead, they exposed themselves. I was done being quiet, done being nice to people who only saw me as useful. That day, something changed in me. I wasn't going to be the helper anymore. I wasn't going to beg to be part of a family that didn't want me. Let them talk. Let them wonder. I walked out of their wedding and out of their control. Before the wedding, things seemed okay. My sister-in-law and mother-in-law were being extra sweet to me. They called often, asked how I was doing, and even brought me small gifts. I thought they were finally trying to include me in the family. When the wedding came closer, they asked if I could help out a little. They said it would mean so much to them and that I was the only one they could trust. I felt special, like they really valued me. My husband told me it would be easy, just a few things here and there. At first, I agreed with a smile. I helped with shopping, decorations, and even stayed up late making wedding favors. They kept thanking me, telling me I was doing such a great job. I believed them. Every time I started feeling tired, they'd say something like, "You're so good at this," or "We couldn't do it without you." I thought I was helping because I was part of the family, but as the wedding day got closer, things changed. I was being given more and more work. Suddenly, I was the one handling deliveries, organizing seating, fixing mistakes, and doing jobs no one else wanted. I didn't even have time to get my dress ready or relax before the event. My husband saw how tired I was, but he just told me to hang in there. It's just for a few more days. They really need you. On the wedding day, I was running around from morning until guests started arriving. I didn't feel like a guest. I didn't feel like family. I felt like an employee. Still, I kept telling myself it was okay. Maybe after everything was done, they would finally thank me properly. Maybe I was overthinking it. Then I saw my name tag. It didn't say my name. It didn't say family or anything respectful. It said housekeeper. My heart dropped. That's when everything made sense. The sweet words, the fake kindness, the sudden love. They were all just tricks to get me to work for free. They never saw me as part of the family. They saw me as someone to use. I looked at my husband again, hoping he would stand up for me. He said nothing. He just looked away, like he wasn't surprised. That hurt even more than the name tag. I realized I had been fooled from the start. They didn't need my help. They wanted a free worker. I wasn't part of their big day. I was just labor they didn't want to pay for. All the guilt trips, fake smiles, and thank yous meant nothing. I had been used, and everyone knew it but me. I tried to believe it was just a mistake. Maybe someone grabbed the wrong name tag. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. But as the wedding day went on, it became clear that it wasn't an accident. The way people looked at me, the way they talked to me, it all showed what they really thought of me. The bride's friends kept making rude jokes. One of them laughed and asked if I could refill her drink. Another told me not to forget to clean up after dessert. They weren't joking kindly. They were mocking me, smiling like it was funny that I was working at a wedding I was supposed to attend as family. I tried to smile and let it pass, but it was getting harder. I joined a group conversation with some of the family, hoping to feel included. As soon as I spoke, they went quiet. One aunt turned her back. Another changed the topic, like I wasn't even there. I stood there for a moment, feeling invisible. It was like they had decided I didn't belong. and nothing I did could change that. I pulled my husband aside. I asked him, "Why is everyone treating me like I'm the help?" He looked uncomfortable and said I was overthinking it. I told him how people were treating me, how they were laughing at me. He just said, "It's not a big deal. Don't ruin the day." That's when I knew he wasn't on my side. He didn't see the problem, or didn't care. Later, I overheard two of the bridesmaids talking. One of them said, "They even had that name tag printed just for her." Can you believe that? My stomach turned. Printed. That meant it wasn't a last-minute mistake. It wasn't random. Someone had planned this. They had decided ahead of time to label me as the housekeeper. That was the moment everything became clear. They didn't just forget who I was. They didn't want me to forget who I was to them. In their eyes, I wasn't family. I was useful. I was someone they could make work while they smiled for photos. They dressed me up in fake kindness just to get what they wanted. And my husband, he let it happen. Maybe he even helped. The disrespect wasn't a slip-up. It was personal. It was planned. And it broke something inside me. I stood there, name tag on my chest, heart pounding, finally seeing the truth. I was never welcome. I was never respected. I was never one of them. After the wedding, something inside me still felt wrong. I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the name tag, the way everyone treated me, and how my husband said nothing. I wanted to believe maybe it wasn't as bad as it felt. Maybe I was being too sensitive. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. One day, I was using my husband's laptop to check an email. A message popped up from a family group chat. I didn't mean to look, but the words caught my eye. I opened the chat. What I saw broke me. It was a conversation between my husband, his sister, and his mother. They were making fun of me. They called me too eager to please and perfect for the cleanup crew. His sister joked about how I would do anything if they said it nicely. His mum said I was useful, not special. My husband replied with a laughing emoji. He didn't defend me. He joined in. I sat there frozen. My chest felt heavy. This wasn't just behind my back. It was betrayal from the people I trusted most. I wasn't angry at first. I was hurt, deeply. I had been kind to them, helped them, stood by them, and they were laughing at me like I was nothing. That night, I showed the messages to my husband. He barely looked at them. He just said, "It was just a joke. You're overreacting." No apology, no regret, just a cold, simple answer, like it didn't matter. I didn't scream. I didn't cry in front of him. I just nodded and went quiet. I knew I couldn't change how they saw me. I couldn't force love or respect from people who didn't care. So I made a quiet decision. I stayed up that night, making a list of what I needed to do. My personal documents, bank details, a place to stay. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't need drama. I just needed peace. They thought I would stay no matter what. They thought I was too weak to walk away. But they were wrong. I wasn't going to argue anymore. I was going to leave. Not with anger, but with silence and strength. The reception was loud and full of music, laughter, and smiling faces. Everyone looked happy. I stood in the back, holding a tray of small cakes. No one looked at me like I belonged there. They looked through me, like I was just part of the staff. I was wearing the same dress I had planned to wear as a guest, but the name tag still sat on my chest. It said, Housekeeper. They had asked me to help serve cake. I didn't agree, but they handed me the tray and told me, "You're so good at helping." My husband didn't say a word. He just walked away to take pictures with the family. I stood there for a few minutes, watching them laugh and pose together, while I held the tray like a waitress. Something inside me went quiet. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I felt done. I looked down at the tray, then at the name tag. Slowly, I walked to the nearest table. I gently placed the tray down. I reached for the name tag and took it off. Then I turned around and walked out of the hall without saying anything. Nobody noticed at first. No one stopped me. I walked through the parking lot, got into my car, and drove away. My hands were steady. My heart felt light. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't trying to be accepted. I wasn't hoping they would treat me better. I was done trying. As I drove, my phone buzzed over and over. My husband was calling. Then came texts. "Where are you? Come back." "You're being dramatic." I didn't answer. I turned off the phone and kept driving. I went to my friend's house, someone I knew I could trust. She opened the door and hugged me without asking anything. I finally let out a deep breath. Back at the wedding, I heard later, people were confused. Some were angry. My husband's mum said I had ruined the day. His sister cried and said I had made it all about me. But I didn't care anymore. They had used me, mocked me, and expected me to smile through it. I didn't scream or make a scene. I didn't need to. My silence said enough. I walked out on the people who treated me like I was less. I left without looking back, and I knew I would never return to that place or to that role again. After I left the wedding, I stayed quiet. I didn't post anything, didn't answer messages, and didn't tell anyone what really happened. I just needed peace. But the family couldn't leave it alone. They started telling people I had a breakdown at the wedding. They said I was jealous of my sister-in-law and angry that I wasn't the center of attention. Some even said I had mental health problems and needed help. I found out through mutual friends. People were asking, what really happened? Why did she leave like that? The family made up stories to protect themselves. They wanted everyone to think I was the problem. I didn't fight back. I just stayed silent. But someone else didn't. A week later, I got a message from my husband's younger cousin. She said she was sorry for how I was treated and that she had seen the group chat weeks before the wedding. She told me she had taken screenshots just in case things got worse, and now she was ready to share them. She posted the screenshots online in a group where many family members and friends could see. The messages showed everything: how my husband, his sister, and his mother laughed about using me, called me names, and planned to label me as housekeeper for fun. It was all there, in their own words. People were shocked. Some of the same people who believed I was jealous quickly changed their tune. They left comments supporting me, saying how wrong it was and how I didn't deserve any of it. A few even apologized for believing the lies, but it didn't stop there. The story spread. The screenshots were shared on social media, and someone even posted a photo from the wedding, me holding the cake tray with the housekeeper tag on my chest. That picture went viral. People online were angry. Many called it cruel, humiliating, and disgusting. Suddenly, my sister-in-law's wedding became famous, but not in the way she wanted. Her pictures were shared everywhere, but the comments were full of hate and criticism. People called her a bully. Her social media got flooded, and she had to make everything private. The same family that laughed at me was now hiding from the public eye. My husband tried to call again, but I still didn't respond. He knew the truth was out, and there was no way to spin it anymore. They tried to shame me, but ended up exposing themselves. I didn't need to say a word. The truth spoke louder than I ever could. Once the truth came out, I stayed silent. There were no more messages to send. No need to explain myself. I had already said enough. It was time to take action. Quietly, I met with a lawyer who listened carefully and promised to help me move forward. She said I had every right to leave a marriage built on lies and disrespect. Without warning, I filed for divorce. The papers were delivered to my husband, and his reaction was instant. He called again and again, asking me to talk. He sounded surprised, even confused, but I felt nothing. The same man who ignored my pain now wanted answers. I gave him none. He sent long texts, trying to explain or blame others. I didn't read most of them. My decision was final. I had spent years supporting him, handling bills, planning events, keeping things running, while his family looked down on me. I had given so much and received so little. As the legal process began, more details started to surface. My lawyer found records showing I had paid for most of the household expenses. Even wedding costs, which were supposed to be shared, had come from my account. Emotionally, I had been there every step. In return, I got mockery and silence. The courtroom wasn't loud or dramatic. I let my lawyer speak while I sat quietly. My husband tried to look calm, but the evidence told a different story. His family didn't show up. His words carried no weight. Mine didn't need to. The truth was enough. What hurt the most wasn't just the betrayal. It was realizing how little I mattered to him when no one was watching. I wasn't his partner. I was his support system, his safety net, his backup. And once I stepped away, he began to fall apart. He expected me to stay forever. He thought I would forgive, forget, and return. But I was done being the one who held everything together. I chose peace, not punishment. I chose to live on my terms. I walked out of court without looking back. No more tears, no regrets. My silence wasn't weakness. It was strength. Let the lawyers talk. I've said all I needed to by leaving. After I left, things started falling apart for them. I had been the one keeping everything steady, quietly doing things behind the scenes, solving problems, and making sure everyone else looked good. Without me, They had to manage things on their own, and it didn't go well. My sister-in-law, who once laughed at me, started facing people's anger. Friends and guests began asking questions about how I had been treated. Some stopped talking to her. Others shared the viral photo from the wedding again, saying it was cruel. She tried to act like nothing happened, but people saw through it. My mother-in-law, who always acted like she was in control, began to struggle too. She had counted on me to help with everything: cleaning, planning, even small things like remembering birthdays or buying gifts. Now no one was there to do those tasks. She tried to take care of it herself, but things slipped. She forgot important dates and mixed up plans. The rest of the family started to notice that things didn't run as smoothly anymore. Even my husband began to feel the difference. At first, he pretended like he didn't care, but slowly, things started to change for him too. His work performance dropped. He began missing deadlines and showing up late. I'd always helped him stay on track, reminded him about meetings, supported him when he was stressed. Now, he was alone with the pressure, and he couldn't handle it. People at his job noticed. His boss gave warnings. Co-workers stopped covering for him. Without me, he didn't have that steady hand guiding him quietly in the background. He never realized how much I did until I wasn't there anymore. At home, his life became messy. He didn't know how to take care of small tasks, paying bills, cooking, handling daily chores. I had done all that without complaint. Now he had to do it alone, and it overwhelmed him. The house got disorganized. His routine collapsed. For years, they treated me like I was just extra help, not someone who mattered. But when I left, they realized I had been the one holding them all together. They lost more than they thought. Without a scapegoat to blame or a quiet helper to lean on, they had to face their own problems, and each other. And me? I was finally free. Watching from afar, I didn't feel sad. I felt calm. They had made their choices. Now they had to live with them. Months passed after the divorce. Life felt different, but in the best way. I was finally living for myself. I had a small apartment, a peaceful space that was mine. No one told me what to do, how to act, or where to stand. I felt free, calm, and in control of my own life. One day, while sorting through mail, I saw a fancy envelope with my name on it. I already knew who it was from before I opened it. The handwriting was too familiar. It was an invitation to a family reconciliation dinner, a night where they wanted to talk, say sorry, and maybe pretend like nothing had happened. I didn't open it fully. I didn't need to. I placed it straight into the trash without a second thought. I didn't care about what they had to say. They didn't care when I needed kindness. They only missed me because things weren't easy without me. Their sudden change of heart didn't move me. That same night, I had something better planned. My workplace was hosting a celebration dinner. I had received a promotion, a role I worked hard for, one I earned by showing up, doing my best, and staying true to myself. My new boss said I was one of the most dependable people on the team. I had never felt so seen or valued. I dressed up for the event with a smile on my face. My co-workers greeted me warmly. People clapped when my name was called. I gave a short thank you speech and looked around the room at the faces of people who respected me. There was no pretending, no fake kindness, no hidden jokes, just real support and recognition. While they sat around a dinner table talking about starting over, I was somewhere else, building something new. I didn't need their apology. I didn't want their approval. I had already forgiven myself for staying so long in a place where I wasn't treated well. That invitation was never really for me. It was for them. They wanted to feel better about what they did, but I had already moved on. I didn't need to go back to old pain just to make others feel comfortable. That night, as I walked home, I smiled. I had a new job, new friends, and a new peace. I had made it through. I chose my happiness over their guilt, and I never looked back. It had been almost a year since I walked away from that wedding, from that family, and from the man who never stood up for me. My life looked nothing like before. I had a small but cozy apartment, a job I enjoyed, and quiet evenings where I didn't feel judged or invisible. I was finally living for myself, not for others. One afternoon, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, I saw him, my ex. He looked tired, older, like life had finally caught up with him. He smiled softly and said, "I just want to talk." I didn't say anything, but I let him speak. He told me he had changed. He said he missed me, that he now understood everything he did wrong. He claimed he had gone to therapy, apologized to his family, and that nothing felt right without me. He asked for another chance. But his words didn't move me, not this time. I listened, but I didn't feel the pull I used to feel. I didn't feel sorry for him. I didn't feel guilty. I just felt tired of being the person who always forgave. I had been kind, patient, and loyal, and in return, I had been ignored, laughed at, and used. When he finished, I told him gently but firmly, "I'm not going back. I don't belong in your story anymore. I'm writing my own now." His eyes dropped, and for the first time, he didn't try to argue. After he left, I sat in my living room, looking around at the life I built. On a small shelf was the name tag from the wedding, the one that said, Housekeeper. I had kept it, not out of pain, but as a reminder. It reminded me of the woman I used to be, silent, helpful, always giving. It reminded me of how far I had come. I wasn't that woman anymore. I was no longer someone who stayed quiet to keep the peace. I was someone who chose herself, even when it was hard. That night, I lit a candle, made some tea, and curled up with a book. The city lights glowed outside my window, and I smiled. I didn't need his regret. I didn't need his apology. I didn't need to be needed. I was free. I was enough. I was finally living my own life, and I wasn't going back. Do you think she made the right decision by walking away from her ex for good? Or should she have given him one last chance to prove he really changed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new one.